Sophie, 56, and Edward, 5, have 2 children together, James, Viscount 7, 13, and Lady Louise Windsor, who turned 18 yesterday. The Earl and Countess of Wessex have chosen to style Louise and James as children of an Earl, rather than use their HRH titles, in order to give them a more normal life. However, now Louise is 18, she may choose to take up these titles herself. Sophie, who previously said she has told her children they will likely have to work for a living, had a relatively normal life before she started dating Edward in her late 20s. What's more, she nearly didn't join the royal family at all, due to a serious relationship with an Australian ski instructor before meeting the Queen's youngest son. After Sophie completed her A-levels, she worked in London for a time and then in Switzerland as a ski rep. It was on the slopes that she initially fell for her Australian lover, according to the late Garth Gibbs, the co-author of the book, Sophie's Kiss, the true love story of Prince Edward and Sophie Rhys-Jones. After their whirlwind romance on the slopes, she followed him back to his native country and tried to make their relationship work, but it eventually fell apart. Mr. Gibbs spoke on the 1999 documentary, Prince Edward and Sophie Rhys-Jones, The True Story. The film was put together before the couple got married later that year at Windsor Castle. Speaking about Sophie at the time, Mr. Gibbs said, "She's 34, she's been around the block. She's had a couple of flings, only a couple of serious love affairs. The Australian ski instructor was the most serious. She followed him back to Aussie, but then it cooled down. Often when you fall in love on the snow slopes it turns out to be a bit of a damp squib when you get home." Mr. Gibbs said he thought the Countess of Wessex's relationship with the ski instructor was the closest she came to getting married before tying the knot with Edward. He said, "I think she was hoping to get married and settle down in Aussie. When everything went slightly wrong, she started getting home. The English girls want to come back to some more sophisticated people, put it that way. And she did immediately, and she went to work for Brian McLaurin, where she really honed up on her skills. And her popularity was fantastic. Shush is very popular with all the clients." After Sophie and her boyfriend parted ways, Mr. Gibbs claimed she was involved with another Australian, although said he didn't know close the relationship was. This other man was said to have taken Sophie on yachting trips, and also came back to England with her for a time. The Countess of Wessex is now one of the Queen's 7 royals who help her with duties. She is said to be a close confidant of Her Majesty, having grown closer over the years due to the family's relative proximity to Windsor Castle. Sophie was also close with the late Prince Philip, as was the now 18-year-old Louise, who inherited his carriage and horses, due to their shared love of carriage driving.